present.
Eastern Commissioner Bradley Jackson.
I am also present.
We do have a quorum. Go ahead, Ms. Paula.
I'm going to appoint Commissioner Hosey Blue as presiding today.
See, I told you. You're the man.
As far as I know, there's no items to be removed from the consent agenda. If anybody knows of any, let me know. The consent agenda does include the approval of today's agenda. We have minutes to be approved, I presume, so that those have been looked over, and we'll be signing those later, but that's part of the consent agenda. Are there any financials today? No financials today?
There is one.
There is one.
Yeah, certified court order 0613202401.
Okay. And what is that kind, sir?
That is, well, let me see if I can hold it a little bit further away so I can read it all. It's the road and bridge sales tax.
Okay. All right. And I can tell by you're looking at that it all looks great.
It does.
So I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda that would also include that financial.
I would make that motion, sir.
I second the motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion carried. We now move to the other items for consideration, beginning with Employee Services Director Bryant, having to do with special events. Addendum.
I emailed you guys a copy of that, but I have hard copies if you want it. Would you like one?
I suspect I may have it. Do I have it here? You know?
I don't think we have it in our package.
I'd be glad to have a hard copy of that, please.
Yeah.
I emailed it, but it was probably
Yes.
several weeks ago.
Okay, thank you.
3 weeks ago. I will tell you, I know that Commissioner Jackson and I have talked a little bit about this. The last time that we talked about the special events, when they are going to be doing them on Friday nights or Saturday, or when we are not working, we remove the ability to have electricity from our ad, which they can still have the Ballards around, but we removed that. The reason we had it written into the food truck agreement was because we had employees here during the day, and we are charging additional, just a $10 nominal fee if they want to use the electricity during the day. We didn't have it as part of the special events contract. And Mr. Jackson asked that we look at adding it in for the special events. So I put it in, and Austin Bax and I drafted this. We put in, basically what I did was I added the the overtime rate for Richard Teague. Now, what I could do is, I talked to Richard yesterday, and he said, you know, it could be him or another maintenance person, which would lower that cost. Or he said it could be Dan Graham. And when I asked why, he said, well, one of his main concerns is if you don't have an employee here and they trip the breaker and they shut down, then you have to have somebody who has security clearance to get in and who would know how to handle the electricity to get us turned back on. So I could do an average of that cost of those people, but there is a short list of people that would be able to do that. So really this is your decision if you want to add it or not. I'm just adding that thought.
Well, I had and of course maybe a little bit of a conflict, but one of the events that we contract that with, I'm involved with, and we've received a lot of complaints about the food trucks using generators. The generators are extremely loud. Is there a way to where there could be a fee associated with using the electricity to accommodate the food trucks? And I said I would bring it forward for us to discuss. At those events, I'm on site. Now, I'm not an hourly employee, but I do have security clearance to get in the building, and I do have the ability to monitor that as an authorized county personnel. And So I don't know if that would be an option that we could work in there, as long as there's somebody, of course, I don't have to be paid for that.
I don't really think that would be fair, though, because once this is in place,
Mhm.
you got to think about another entity that you're not a part of,
Sure.
or I'm not a part of. I mean, like, you got to think of it like that. Because once you write this, it's for everyone. And I don't know, I mean, I'm not going to be comfortable with going to figure out what breakers, I mean, I don't want to do that. But even if I said, oh, I'm somebody who can call Richard and he walk me through it,
Mhm.
I don't think that you can write a contract to convey that, because I think they all should be, you know what I mean?
Well, I do, and I understand, I mean, there's going to be, I guess there's differences of the events, you know, so like you have an Oktoberfest event where I believe the paperwork has already been submitted for usage of the square on that day. That event is a higher grossing event as far as, you know, sponsors and so forth, and they can absorb a cost of $38 an hour, more so than a downtown market days that's, you know, not really, it's kind of a break-even event. So when you tack in $38.88 per hour over the course of an 8-hour day, that almost breaks that event from being able to even happen. So that's the thing that I'm trying to navigate through here. That organization has no issue with paying a fee for the electricity, but there's really nothing for a person to do at $38.88 an hour for 8 hours, and that piece would break the event from being able to afford it, if that makes sense. So I'm fine with just doing maybe a little bit more research on how to accommodate this. I just don't know how you navigate through it, because not all events are going to be the same. Not all events are going to be.
The contract should be. I mean,
I get that. So how do we work through that? So I don't know. I think maybe it needs a little bit more conversation back and forth with regards to staff, and maybe bring something back a little bit better.
So, like you mentioned, what did you call it, neighborhood market?
The downtown market days event, yeah.
Right. Do they have to plug into our system, or can they plug into the?
Well, the food trucks, they don't have the ability currently to utilize electricity on the pad. So they bring a generator. Their generators are very loud and noisy, and it takes away from the event. No vendor wants to be around those generators because they're just so loud. You got to yell when talking to your customers and stuff. It kind of ruins the atmosphere.
Right.
So that's where that committee has asked me, hey, would it be possible to, you know, plug into electricity? I said at this time, no, because that's what the policy was written, but I would bring it forward and ask.
Right. Yeah. And is there any urgency to this matter for?
No, that's why I said I think we could probably just table it and try to come up with some better solution, or maybe there isn't a better solution, but maybe a little bit more staff time.
Sure. I think that's a good idea from my perspective. I don't know what the language is. I don't know if it's tabling it or just make.
Yeah, I would just make a motion to table it.
Put it on a future agenda.
Yeah.
Anybody know the language?
If you want to table it, you have to have a formal motion to put it on the table, take it off the table, and keep track of it. If you just want to say we're going to discuss it at a later time, we can just, Kayla and I will make a note of it and
Yeah.
remember.
I think that's.
I just move that we bring it back at a later date to be determined.
Okay. Do we need a motion for that? We don't need a motion for that. Are you okay with that?
Yep.
All right.
That's fine.
Just so note that we're going to discuss this again. I definitely think that I think we have to do it in such a way, and Mr. Jackson does as well, that anybody that picks up that proposal or that license agreement, it applies equally to anybody at that point. I do understand the concerns there, but I think we do have a greater concern to the taxpayers that we not take any risk that might cause us to have a lawsuit against us because something happened, somebody tripped, somebody whatever, and we don't have any employees there, or as has been mentioned, if something happened to shut down the building and so on. I guarantee you, if I was here and something happened, you don't want to send me looking at electrical things. My wife would not approve, and I wouldn't do that. So I think speaking about that at another time is an excellent idea, and perhaps at that time Mr. Morris can weigh in with us on that also.
Yep.
All right, our second item is Employee Services Director Bryant and Purchasing Manager Hopkins Will. Look like Ms. Hopkins Will is carrying the ball on this today.
I am carrying the ball. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning. Good to see you.
A few documents there.
I'm sorry.
I said you've got a few
I
documents there.
know,
That's
I do
nice.
today. I do.
You're going to have to get one of those little lawyer traveling cases so you can pull it behind so you know.
We left
Put
about that
wheels
this
on.
morning.
Yep.
So good morning. So this is a contract renewal for employee drug screening services. The contract renewal is for ITB 2023-8. This is the first renewal of the contract, year 2. It is for DSI Medical, and they've agreed to maintain their current pricing, and our Director of Employee Services is happy with their service, so I ask that you would renew the contract.
All right, any questions on that, Mr. Jackson?
I have none.
I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
I second the motion. Any discussion?
No, sir.
Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Again, I think you take the next item, Ms. Hopkins-Will.
So this is, let's see, this is for ITB 2022-9. It is a contract renewal, and it's for real estate services. We put this out several years ago. We have 3 vendors, Murney, Estes, and Keller Williams on contract. In asking all 3 vendors if they would like to renew, Estes declined respectfully. The other 2 would like to continue to work with us. So our recommendation is to renew the contract from Murney and Keller Williams for an additional year.
Discussion of that, sir?
I'm kind of surprised that Estes was not interested in continuing with us. But other than that, I have no questions or additional comments, and would make a motion to renew with those 2 entities.
I second that motion. Any discussion?
No,
All
sir.
in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Thank you for that. Okay, and then one again from Ms. Hopkins-Will, the busy lady of the day, related to Sheriff Cole. Good morning, sir.
So Captain
Sheriff,
Wisnett is going to be filling in for Sheriff Cole today.
Right.
And as you know, Captain Wisnet is in charge of the jail. So this is for the award of the RFP 2024-2 Sheriff's Office Detention Center Food Service. Here's a little background. The contract was about to expire, and so the sheriff asked that we rebid this. The RFP was issued on April 4th. There were 2 addendums provided. There was a pre-proposal conference. 5 vendors attended. The RFP closed on April 5th. We had 4 proposals that we received. 2 of them were out of our competitive range, so they received letters that they were not in the competitive range. We had a short list. That was Tiger Commissary Services and Trinity Services Group. Trinity Services Group is our current incumbent. We asked for a best and final offer of both of those companies. Tiger made no changes to their proposal. Trinity Services Group did reduce their pricing substantially. And also in their BAFO, they're highlighting a $20,000 equipment upgrade buyback program and a Trinity takeout program. I can explain those to you if you'd like me to. Okay, it's part of the program. So it was very close. Trinity provided. We asked for 2 options in the RFP. The beauty about an RFP is the vendor can give us anything. They can give us much more than what we request. And in this case, in the original proposal, they gave us 3 options to go. And then in their BAFO, they gave us 4 options to go. And we actually went with the 4th option as the lowest priced vendor. So our recommendation, while both companies have good reputations and it was very close in scoring, the recommendation by the evaluation committee is to award to the lowest price meal and best overall provider, which would be Trinity Services Group.
And just for the sake of anybody listening or watching, remind us again, who forms the group that evaluates?
So in this evaluation group, it was, I'm a non-voting member, Sheriff Cole, Captain Wisnet, and then Lieutenant Colton was Lieutenant Craig was a non-voting member.
Okay, all right.
Well, I know a lot of work went into this, obviously, through the size of the document, so I appreciate everybody that is looking out for that. I know that you got everybody's best interest, especially the budget, in mind with this, so thank you for all that additional
Yes.
work.
Any other observations?
No.
I'll entertain a motion, sir.
I would make it.
And then I second the motion that we go with Trinity with their proposal. And any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, aye. I'll say aye also, and there's nobody around to be opposed. So, all right, that passed, and thank you for that. Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Whitman,
Thank you, Captain.
for the work you do. I know that's not an easy task.
No, not with a document like that.
No,
I
no.
made it
That's a
look-
lot. It was good reading.
Yeah, I'm sure it
It was.
Anything from you on communication, sir?
I have nothing.
Okay, neither, I think, do I. So at this time, we'll say thank you to all who came, but we are going into closed session. In fact, we'll have two of those. We'll have a closed session for personnel and then a closed session for legal. I believe we need to close, do we need to close this session? We need to vote to go into closed.
You'll make a motion to go in,
Okay.
and then you'll make a motion to come out, then you'll adjourn.
And I'll adjourn. And I'll ask that every time because I don't retain that.